Greetings. I welcome you all to Invitation to Sociology series started by Alumni Association of the Department of Sociology, University of Mysore. I am Shanti. Today I am going to share with you the sociological interpretation of family, a social unit which we are all familiar with. Family has been perceived by sociologists as the cornerstone of society. It is generally agreed that family forms the basis of human society. Family relationships are always recognized within wider kinship groups. It is rather difficult to perceive a society without a family structure. In virtually all societies, we can identify what sociologists call family. Composition of a family varies from society to society. Can we consider family as one of the universal unit of a social institution? Before we answer this question, we need to understand the different sociological angles of family as a social unit. Family is a group defined by a sexual relationship sufficiently precise and enduring to provide for the procreation and upbringing of children. This is what McIver considers family as. Now, Burgess and Locke look at family as a group of persons united by the ties of marriage, blood or adoption, consisting of a single household, interacting and intercommunicating with each other in their respective social roles of husband and wife, mother and father, son and daughter, brother and sister, creating a common culture. Family is a group of persons whose relationships to one another are based upon consanguinity and who are therefore kin to one another is what Davis considers family as. Now, family is a miniature of social organization, including at least two generations, and it's characteristically formed upon the blood bond. This is what Sumner and Keller think about family. To Clare, family is a system of relationships existing between parents and children. Now here we come again to the biological component of procreation. Family is the biological and social unit composed of husband, wife and children is what Eliot and Merrill say about family. Now family is a socially recognized unit of people related to each other by kinship, marital and legal ties. Anderson and Parker consider that there is much more than just biology and social component, and there is a legal dimension to it also. Now Green and Arnon look at family as an institutionalized social group, now charged with duty of population replacement. Again, it is the procreation concept which is being insisted upon. Family is a more or less durable association of husband and wife with or without children, or of a man or a woman alone with children is what Nimcoff considers as a family. Now here he introduces one more dimension when he says that it could be a single parent family. It be their own children, or it could be children that they might have adopted. Now there's also one more newly included dimension, that adults of the same sex who maintain sexual relationship living together with or without their children can also form a family. Now, looking at families' understanding by Indian sociologists, I would like to quote a couple here. I.P. Desai looks at family as a broadly defined unit of two or more persons united by marriage, blood, adoption, or consensual union, in general constituting a single household, interacting and communicating with each other. Now, very interestingly, I.P. Desai introduces here a consensual union, which in the sense means that people who have not really formed a family based on the legal marriage as such. Family is a group of households of agnatically related men, their wives, and unmarried sisters and daughters is what a family forms to Aim Shah. Now here he is looking at majorly at only the patriarchal dimension of family. Now let us look at some of the characteristics of the family. Now if we cull out some of the points emerging from the different definitions that we visited, we understand that family is a universal component. It is universal in nature, found in some form or the other in all societies. It is a social group. There is common residence. There is economic cooperation, and the most trusted activity here is reproduction. It includes adults of both sexes. At least two of them maintain a sexual relationship, which is approved by that society, which is very interesting for us. Have one or more children of their own, or it could be adopted. A single adult living with one or more children of their own, or again adopted. Now, institution of family and its type depend on a number of other social institutions like marriage, lineage, inheritance. Now, detailed discussion of these will be taken up in discussing different other institutions at a later point of time. Now, in the next section that I'm going to talk about the different forms of families that exist in societies across the world, and some of them which are very found in, specifically also found in India. Now when we come to types of family, we see that based on the number of generations living together, we broadly bifurcate them as the nuclear family, or the other one is the extended family, which is also popularly known as being identified as either the joint family or large family. Now based on type of relationship, we categorize families as conjugal families or consanguineous families. Based on the place of residence, it can become matrilocal. Local means where they stay or where they reside. It is matrilocal, patrilocal, or neolocal families. Now based on authority and lineage, it could be matriarchal family, matrilineal family, patriarchal family, or patrilineal family. And there's also very interestingly what we see as matrifocal family, what Herlambos very frequently talks about when he discusses the issues of family, where he raises the examples of African American families where it is matrifocal, which is centered, which is focused towards the importance of the role of the female person there, head of the family. Now what is a nuclear family? It's at least two generations of lives together, consisting of parents or single parent and their biological or adopted or both children living together. The sociologists at some point of time associated nuclear form of family with the modern times, but we now know there is enough research to show us that this is not necessarily so. Pre-modern societies also have had, and they have documented, the presence of nuclear families. Now communities with polygamy and polyandry forms of marriage or in vogue, there we get to observe large nuclear families or matrifocal families. Now coming to extended families, this is a social group consisting of members belonging to many generations. Like in nuclear families, members are related through blood marriage, both of their own or adopted children. Is also true for the extended families. The existence of extended families have been linked to a particular phase of societal shift in its economic activity. With economies dependent on occupations demanding collective efforts with less dependence on labor market, it becomes necessary for siblings of the family to live together and help sustain the family production. Sustain and support all types of members is the hallmark of this form of family, which is the most remarkable one, which is time and again stressed to be included in the nuclear family also. Now, place of residence, we have conjugal and consanguine. The type of family is a majorly based on relationship based one, is basis of marriage like nuclear families. It is a conjugal family. But consanguine families, on the other hand, places emphasis on blood relations. We could recall the erstwhile Tharwad family system of Nayars of Kerala here. Now, based on residence, and we have matrilocal families, where families are established either with the parents of the wife or women heads of the families near their houses or with them only. This form of family most often is found in societies where matrilineal relationships are predominant and where matriarchy is the norm. Now, patrilocal family, in this pattern of family, the married couple live with or near the husband's family. We find this form of family in patriarchal societies. Neolocal families are the ones which are found where the residence is chosen away from the parents of both the husband and wife on an independent basis, removed or further away from the influence of either the mother side or on the father side. Now, authority and lineage, when we take that as the base, we have matriarchal or matrilineal. Now, matriarchal family is one in which mother is the formal head or the dominant power in the family. A lineage is traced through women and property passes on in the direct line of women. Men do not inherit, but many sociological studies have raised a very fundamental question as to has there been a truly matriarchal family ever existed, where all decisions and authority were in the hands of women? We do have clear evidences for matrilineal, matrilocal, matrifocal families, but a total authority vested in adult female member of the family comes with many shared layers of authority is what we need to remember when we deal with the other institutional segments later on. In most of the matrilineal families, men who stand in conjugal relation are not the full-time residents of the household. There are cases where they are visitors without much participation in decision taking with reference to their children or the property for that matter. Presence of matrilineal families have been documented in India and also specifically in South India. Way back in 1953, Afrinsil records in his article on matrilineal in South India that the presence of mother lineage being more pronounced, even though the shift to patriarchy and its system as a national norm was already becoming a norm where the cultural pattern was being changed. The presence of Tharwad and Aliya Santana tells us that in Kerala and in some parts of Karnataka, the presence of mother head was in vogue. The Khasis, the Garos of Meghalaya are some other examples we could cite for matrilineal families. When we come to patriarchal or patrilineal families, we see that male member is the head and they have unvarying degrees of authority over the rest of the members of the family. Father is the formal head and dominant power in the family. all authorities without any question or in the hands of the male person recognized as head of the family. Now, tracing of one's ancestry and inheritance of family property is only through male line. This is very typically opposite to female line. Unlike matriarchy and its different forms, women who are married to men under patriarchal system live in the households belonging to their husbands and have some degree of role in decision making with reference to the family activities. It could be indirectly done, might not be very overt, but could be subtle also. So these are the major forms of types of families that we have recognized here in this session. In the coming session, I will be talking about the functions of family and different characteristics from different schools of sociology, like for example the functional school, Marxian approach, and the feminist understanding of family. Thank you very much for listening to me.